Your cat walks to the bowl, sniffs the food, takes 2 bites, and walks away. Why? Is your cat just being lazy? Or is it actually trying to tell you something? Because here's what most cat owners don't realize. A cat that eats slowly isn't always a picky cat. And one tiny change to the food may completely change how interesting that meal smells. But before we get to that, there's something much more important you need to notice. The first clue. Think about your cat's normal eating routine. Does your cat usually take a few bites, walk away, then return later? If that's always been normal, it may simply be your cat's natural feeding style. But what if this behavior is new? What if your cat used to eat normally and suddenly started taking much longer? That's when the food bowl becomes more than just a food bowl. It becomes a clue. Why does your cat walk away? Cats don't experience food exactly the way we do. For them, smell plays a major role in deciding whether something is worth eating. And here's the interesting part. Temperature can change the smell of food. When food becomes slightly warmer, its aroma can become stronger. And for some cats, that stronger smell can make the meal more appealing. Which brings us to the simple trick, the quick trick. If your cat is simply showing mild reluctance toward its usual food, try warming it slightly before serving. Not hot, not cooked again, just gently warmed. The goal isn't to make your cat eat faster. The goal is to make the food more noticeable and appealing. And sometimes, that small change is enough to turn a quick sniff into another bite. But there's a problem. What if warming the food doesn't help? That's where many owners make a mistake. They assume, my cat is just picky. But sometimes the issue isn't the food at all. The second mystery. Watch how your cat eats. Does it approach the bowl, then hesitate? Does it drop pieces of food, chew strangely, turn its head away, prefer soft food when it normally eats dry food, or suddenly take much longer than it used to? Those details matter, because a cat can sometimes appear interested in food while still having difficulty eating it. Dental discomfort, for example, can make eating harder. And that means what looks like, I don't want this, could actually mean, eating this doesn't feel comfortable. That's why a sudden change matters more than simply being a naturally slow eater. Look for your cat's normal. This is the part most owners overlook. Don't compare your cat to another cat. Compare your cat to itself. If your cat has always eaten small amounts, always wandered away, and always returned later, that pattern may simply be normal for that individual cat. But if the pattern suddenly changes, pay attention, because your cat may be giving you one of its quietest signals. And cats are experts at quiet signals. So what should you do? Start simple. Keep the feeding area calm. Serve the food at a comfortable temperature. Try gently warming wet food if your cat seems mildly uninterested. And most importantly, watch the pattern. If your cat continues eating less, loses weight, refuses food, or shows signs that eating is uncomfortable, don't keep trying feeding tricks. That's when a veterinarian should help determine what's really happening. Because the goal isn't to make your cat finish dinner faster. The goal is to understand why it isn't eating normally. And that changes everything. The real message. Your cat may not be lazy. It may not even be picky. It may simply have a different way of experiencing food. And sometimes, a tiny change in smell is all it takes to make a meal more interesting. But when your cat's normal eating pattern suddenly changes, don't ignore it. Because your cat doesn't always communicate with sounds. Sometimes, it communicates by taking 1 bite less, walking away, and coming back later. The food bowl may look ordinary, but if you learn to watch closely, it can become one of the clearest windows into your cat's world. And that is the real trick. Not making your cat eat faster, but learning to understand why your cat eats the way it does.